So, ja. Schauen wir mal, ob wir sie irgendwie noch retten können. Repairing the rig. The rig is mostly patched up, but Bliss wants a few more cycles to run final tweaks and diagnostics. Oh yeah, okay. Pinnacle docks. Roam the docks. Pinnacle Explorer. Pinnacle docks are vast and filled with freight haulers and stevedores. This is not an easy place to wander. Roam the docks, looking around the Pinnacle docks without getting in someone's way is hard. It takes fortitude to explore among the chaos. Study the manifests. With so much freight flying around, it seems safer to cozy up with a terminal and study the manifests to learn this place. Spindle Core. Core of the Spindle is where crews and freelancers mix, travelers rest and resupply, and business gets done. Explore the core from wide transit tunnels to labyrinthine corridors. All the passages of the spindle seem to pass through the core. Jet crews, spacer crews are a constant presence in the core. If one tips on crew and contracts, you might as well ask them. Hang. Life beneath. Many residents of the far spindle live in the ramshackle underhang. It's not an easy place to learn to navigate. Help the residents. Underhang residents couldn't afford to rent further up, so they came here to build their own units. They are always in need of repair work. One of the underhang. The underhang grew organically, unit after unit, built onto each other by refugees and new residents. This makes it a tough place to explore. Okay. Dinge kann ich immer noch nicht reparieren. Wie viele Tage braucht es? 4. As you glide through the pinnacle docks, you hear shouting echoing down a corridor. You tentatively change direction, your eyes fixed ahead as the passage widens out into a large bay. Others rush past you, heading towards the commotion. Your eyes are drawn by the bay's vast viewing window, which is currently being spattered with glittering shards of ice. In front of it, a dock worker is shouting to anyone who will listen. Spacers, workers of the far spindle, we need your urgent assistance. The water carrier Springtide has suffered heavy damage in its transit from Wellspring. He takes a breath. All able hands, we need you to help secure the cargo. Without this water, far spindle will struggle to support you. He looks desperately at the crowd. Please, any who are able to help, please make yourself known. Behind him, a corona of ice ejects from one of the tanks, drawing a pale halo around the ship. A handful of experienced-looking spacers push through the crowd towards the front, and dock workers start to direct them to nearby bridges. You watch the scene unfold, hesitant in the face of making someone else's problem your own. Saving spring tide. Damaged in transit. The spring tide now needs desperate action to save it and its cargo before it's too late. Serious leak. Spring tides. Precious cargo of water is being lost cycle by cycle. Without it, the fast spindle could be in trouble. Repair the leaks. Springtide crew and spindle dock workers are desperately appealing for any qualified bodies to help them plug the ship's leaks. Reroute the flow. A tech team from the dock authority are working to reroute the flow of Springtide's water, saving as much as possible from leaking out into space. You wake to the sound of blaring proximity alarms. You quickly unstrap from your bunk and dizzily glance around. Lane, bounty hunters. You kick off and glide to the door. As you do, Bliss pops their head around the corner. Sorry, they look a little sheepish. And honestly, it's not my fault. Your wiring's all backward. It takes you a moment to understand what's happening. You steady yourself against the door frame. Sorry, I'm just a little jumpy. I get it. Bliss looks down. Didn't mean to wake you. It takes you a while to get ready and drift down to the mess to see what's happening. By then, Bliss has turned off the alarms. You find them unspooling wires from a hatch you'd never previously noticed in the mess's ceiling. Sorry again, sleeper. The voice comes through the ceiling panels, muffled and dull. You settle at a stool, neatly tucking your legs behind the crossbar. How are you doing? Me? Bliss's muffled voice echoes around the room. I'm working. A pause. Helps keep my mind off things. What things? Bliss spins deftly, hooking their legs into the open ceiling so that, from your perspective, they're hanging upside down. They give you a look. They really want to know? The yawning Seraphim drifts in. He looks between the two of you, amused. What are you both doing up so early? You and Bliss exchange amused looks. What? Seraphim asks. Didn't hear the alarm? He shrugs. Heavy sleeper. He drifts over to the mess's cupboards to hunt for some breakfast. You turn back to Bliss, but they have disappeared back into the ceiling panels. Before long, the mess is filled with the shrill screech of a power tool. Seraphim looks totally unaffected and hooks himself onto a stool, lazily sucking at a ration pouch while he taps away at his slate. The screech finally stops. After a while, you kick off from your stool, time to head out. Bliss rushes after you, stopping you in the passageway before you can leave. I have something I want to show you. Bliss leads you off the main corridor into a corner of the ship you don't remember visiting before. You come into a room with low, sloped ceilings, a single round window illuminating some neat tool storage, and a workbench set into the wall. Hey. Look, Bliss begins. I'm no specialist, but I'm a quick learner and good at repairs. They smile. And I think you have need of me. They glance at you at a tear in the thick vinyl skin of your arm. Can I take a look? Okay. They smile and lead you towards the workbench. They turn your arm, looking at the tear from all angles. They reach over to the workbench and take a small sealant gun from the rack. You look at the setup. It's basic, but it looks clean and well organized. They gently close the tear with sealant, pressing the edges together so it closes up neatly. After they are done, they release your arm and you can barely see the scar. Bliss admires the work. See? They smile. I know it's more serious than a tear. Bliss folds their arm. But I can handle it. You need repairs? Bring me some components to work with, best quality you can find. The better the components, the easier they'll integrate with your system. Liz leans on the workbench. I'll do my best to keep you running. Thank you. Don't worry about it. They shrug. You're a guest in my bay, and I can't have my guests' bodies collapsing now, can I? Plus, I think it benefits me if you think of me as indispensable. Liz smiles. I should get back to fixing the ship. They leave you in the workshop among the simple tools, considering the particular qualities of your new friend. Nice. Can repair your dice. Jerk suddenly awake. A fragment is lodged in your mind, a shard of sound, a signal, a tone. It resonates like tinnitus, obviously internal, inescapable. You look down to see your hands blurred, your fingers dancing as if they were typing. Settle them. Your fingers flap like caught birds. Take control. It takes all your focus to settle them. You force yourself back into them, a sensation like squeezing on a tight pair of gloves. You flex your hands a little to feel them, test them. What was that? You take a deep breath to calm yourself, but as you do, you are reminded that you don't need to breathe. It is a claustrophobic sensation that you cannot shake. You get up, push off the wall, pull on your clothes, anything to escape the dreams that hover there at the back of your mind. Seraphin drifts in casually, heading to his bunk to grab something. You can't shake the strange sensation that he has just drifted into your mind. He shoots you a glance. I said, "Are you okay?" He gives you a concerned look. "You look terrible." "Not really." You mumble a response. You need to talk to me, Sleep." Seraphin gives you a look. He sighs. "I know something happened back when we were leaving Hexport." "I don't know." "Saw it, Sleeper. Saw something change in your eyes." He pauses, looking for the right way to explain. "They were cold, fixed. I've never seen that before." He looks away. "Back when we first met, I knew at once you were human. I knew because of your eyes. I'd never met a Sleeper before, but I never knew immediately that you were no machine. It was obvious. But then on the rig," he shivers, "I couldn't see that anymore. I don't know what happened. What did it feel like?" Gives you a curious look. You close your eyes and recall the moment. You remember Lane's voice, the rig hot and close, the numbness. And then you see it, glittering in the non-space of your mind, thin and bright, like spider silk, a thread. Connection between your mind and something else. You open your eyes to Seraphin's expectant face. You try to think how to describe what you just felt, but words fail you. Still, you know you felt it, the invisible hand of a signal linked to your mind, and the thought makes you shiver. "We need to get you checked up." We need to know what's happening. Seraphine gives you a stubborn stare. This isn't just about you. But where? I've been asking around. Seraphine's face is set with determination now. There's another station near this one, Flotsam. It's a mess, an accumulation of wrecks and docked ships, but it also houses some of the best artificers in the wash. We should go there as soon as the rig is ready. Okay. Thank you. Look, he pauses. I know I don't know what it is like to be a sleeper. I understand there are things you can't tell me, can't show me. But I do know how fear can keep you from doing what you need to do. I'm not going to nag you about it, he sighs, but it needs to be done. He passes by you as he leaves the bunks, squeezing your shoulder as he does, leaving you to your thoughts. You finish getting dressed, feeling your body, its strangeness, even though you wish you didn't. At the very least, you think you need to find someone who can stop you falling apart. Maybe Flotsam is not such a bad idea. You push the thought to the back of your mind. There's a cycle ahead, and the rig isn't ready. When it is, then you'll see. Kitchen. Earn a meal. Nama's kitchen serves those that can't work in the unhang, but able-bodied visitors like you have to work a kitchen shift to get to eat. Impressing Number. Number is too busy to spend too much time with everyone in the kitchen, but she does notice those who do good work. As you drift lazily down to the ship's mess, you hear raised voices. You steel yourself for a moment at the entrance, then slip inside. Seraphine sits hooked onto his usual stool, his slate glowing beside him. He is shaking his head as you enter. Bliss, meanwhile, is floating freely and gesticulating sharply as they explain something important. I don't see why not. Bliss chops at the air. It's not like you have an alternative. We can get the cryo. It'll take time, but we can get it. That was the deal. Seraphine speaks calmly, trying to placate Bliss. Sleeper. Bliss spots you entering and they turn to Seraphine. Let's see what Sleeper thinks about it. Or what? They both fall silent for a moment. Seraphine sighs. The rig's ready, Sleeper. Bliss gestures around the mess. I fixed it. Hell, I've improved it. She's purring thanks to me. Now, wouldn't you say, having done such an incredible job, I deserve to be paid properly for my work? A calculated look crosses their face. A refit and retune like this would typically cost my clients hundreds of cryo, even if I was feeling charitable. Seraphine sighs loudly. He knows where this is going. See, I could make you pay, and maybe you could even scrape the cryo up, but not without taking a contract, and taking this ship off station, leaving me in the lurch. We wouldn't do that, Seraphine starts, but Bliss holds up a hand to shush him. So I have a proposition. One that clears that completely. They pause. I will turn around the open sign and this little bay of mine and join up with you. You keep me in work, give me my split, and give me transit to wherever you're headed. I'll even keep this rig of yours working for free. They shrug. What could be better than that? Us paying and being on our way, with no hangers on. Seraphine folds his arms and looks at you. Tell them, Sleeper. we could use their help. Bliss grins at Seraphine. See, Sleeper gets it. You can use my help. I'm an excellent engineer, a tidy shipmate, and a half-decent chef. I'm done with far spindle. I'm done taking not enough jobs for not enough cryo on a station where I know nobody. They pause, satisfied. You're welcome. Seraphine holds up his hands. Look, we appreciate it, but we are on the run. Bliss, trust me, you're better off here. He gives them a serious look. Even telling you this could put you in danger. Bliss pauses, then they start laughing. On the run? They shake their head, smiling. You expect me to be scared off by that goofy shit? It's true. Bliss just shrugs. The system is at war. The belt is spiraling into a crisis. Everyone's got something. I know you were at Hexport. Seraphine looks at them, open-mouthed, searching for a retort. What happened there? Who's to say it won't happen here? I'm not sitting around watching this all play out any longer. They take a deep breath. Something has to give. Bliss turns to Seraphine. Look, you've done your due diligence or whatever. You're on the run. I've been warned. I accept the risks. That's it. At the end of the day, your ship is clamped into my bay, so unless you know my encryption protocols, there's not much left to discuss. Seraphine shakes his head, a small smile crossing his face. They've got us there. He looks at you, and then at Bliss. Looks like we've gained a crewmate. He unhooks from his stool, but I'm moving to the engine room, and he drifts off towards the bunks to gather his things. He and Bliss exchange a nervous look. Sleeper. Welcome aboard. Bliss smiles and gives you a half-hearted mock salute. You leave Bliss in the galley and head for the cockpit. The rig is ready to fly again, but the question is where to take her next. Flotsam. Look the belt map. Good map. Button. Discover new parts of the Starward belt. Okay. Ja, braucht mal. Nicht genug Fuel. Mal hier so lang weiter. Most of the fast spindle workers don't like going out to seal up the new units, so they leave that tiring and dangerous work for outsiders. Something flickers in the back of your mind. You stop. You have to stop to blink it away. With the tightness behind your left eye, an aching point that refuses to move, and then the voice begins hissing through the background noise of the rig systems, a new whine amongst the chorus of the life support and ventilation. Sleeper. The hiss brings Lane's sharp features to mind. I suppose you thought you had slipped my net. Export jumps into your mind. An image of the station emulating in white light, though you were not conscious to witness it. You're distant. His voice hisses into white noise. But you're not free of me yet. I'm coming, sleeper. The hiss drops, and I will retake control of what is mine. The closer I come to you, the more you will feel it. Lane moves your finger to tap your forehead. In here. Until you cannot resist. A bright smile, pale eyes, a growing hiss that hurts. Then the hiss is gone. The rig suddenly quiet. The stinging tightness diffusing behind your eyes, but the fear remains. Sleeper, you good? Seraphim is there, floating by your berth. You were talking. Lane is coming. Seraphim looks alarmed. You feel him, right? He looks away. We can use that. Stay ahead of him. He squeezes your shoulder. We can do this. We are fast and smart. We keep moving. We don't stay anywhere for long. And we find a way. He frowns. Somehow. You nod. You do not know how Lane is able to reach into your mind like this. How he is able to speak into you. But you want so desperately for it to stop. You must find out what he has done to you before it is too late. You must stay ahead of Lane at all costs. Lane is hunting you once again. The hunt clock. This is filled. He will catch up with you. It will increase once every cycle you spend in a hub. Travel the hunt will reduce by 3. If you keep moving, you can stay one step ahead of Lane. Okay. Scrap shift. Scrappers know their business, but they often have sorting and processing work for those who can spot corroded trash from valuable scrap. Buy scrap components. Scrap components are bundled up in nets, most of them corroded beyond use, but with a careful eye, some good ones can be picked out. Process raw scrap. Scrappers will process your scrap in bulk, pay you for the offcuts, and return you the processed plates. It's not a bad deal. It's hard to tell where Flotsam ends and the ships parked at its many docking bridges begin. Several docks at the station, you realize that the rig now looks like just another piece of accumulated technology, one more bit of driftwood added to the raft. I love this place. Seraphin smiles as he shuts down the engines. You never know what you'll find. Been here before? Yeah, back when I first came to the belt. The crew I signed on with used to run salvage jobs out of here. Fun place to spend your wages. You see Bliss eyeing the station with what looks like both horror and fascination. See the seals? They point out some twisted assemblage of ship parts. Total cowboy welds. They could pop any moment. Seraphin waves away their concerns. That's just the outer layer. I heard there's 6 or 7 in all, so if one fails, it's no problem. He stretches and turns to you. You've got to taste some of the stuff they grow in old Takahe. He kisses his fingers. That's the good shit. Ah, great. Precise. So many layers of redundancy and fallbacks that you have no hope of isolating a leak and fixing it. The rap on the wall of the rig sounds like a ship I know. Yeah. I smile as you join in with the joke, but Seraphin doesn't look impressed. She got you out of here, didn't she? He looks between the two of you. No sense of gratitude. I was joking. Bliss looks a little hurt and drifts out of the cockpit, shaking their head. You go to follow, but Seraphin puts a hand on your shoulder. Sleeper, he looks suddenly serious. Remember what I said about getting checked out? There are artifices all over this place. It'll take a bit of searching, but we need to know what's going on with you. He meets your eye. That's why we're here. Good. Seraphin nods. Let me know what they say. I'm gonna go see if any of my old haunts are still open. He drifts out of the cockpit with a mock salute. Catch you later. You're left alone in the cockpit with a view of Flotsam's chaotic structure. Look over the multicolored plating. It does, you admit, have a certain charm. Wie kriege ich die Glitch-Dinger nochmal weg? Each time you roll a glitch dice, you clear one level of glitch. Okay. Permanent glitch when breaking all your dice. Represented in red on the glitch clock. Okay. Flotsam Explorer. Learning the chaotic structures of Flotsam from corridor to ship and back again takes time. Explore Flotsam, a ramshackle assemblage of decommissioned ships and wrecks. To call Flotsam labyrinthine is a serious understatement. Analyze structure. Flotsam is made from maybe hundreds of ships gathered and modified over time. A good engineer might be able to identify them. Okay. Narrow escape. Take recovery contract. Narrow escapes barman Bolton has a tip about a recovery contract for fugitives. They give you the coordinates. My rig's blown its propulsion and I'm stranded on some godforsaken rock. Repair crew needed. Will split haul. No time wasters or thieves. I'm armed. Payment scrap plus component. The narrow escape specializes in leaf-wrapped parcels of rice and mushrooms, all the ingredients grown on Flotsam. Müsste das Nest wieder ein Spindel. Scrap Components 22 und Fuel. The hydroponics Old Takai is the oldest ship in Flotsam and now serves as a huge hydroponic farm, keeping the station alive. Ships are always available. Shifts. Supplies code, okay. The case of Flotsam intrigues you. Passage to passage, it is the most incoherent place you have ever visited. Cladding and cushioning of all kinds of conditions. Heights of forest, wires and ducts. Interfacing in ways their manufacturers would never dream possible. Rooms are crushed, cargo bays, flipped bridges and eviscerated engine rooms. Patchwork corridors are lumped with messy welds bending worryingly along their length. It is, to put it nicely, a total mess. It's not that you don't like it, but finding an artificer among this chaos has been more than a little challenging. Spreche ich das denn richtig aus?
Artificer.
Artificer. Oh, ja. Oder?
Artificer.
American.
Artificer.
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 Artificer. The cycle, searching these winding passages once more, seeing only scrap merchants and junk shops, you've begun to wonder if Seraphin had any idea what he was talking about when he advised you to come here. A sleeper. The voice cuts through the pungent air. Well, I never. You glance in the voice's direction and find yourself looking at a small booth piled with tech. Behind a fogged and scratched plastic screen is a meticulously arranged counter. The only clear spot inside. At it, an older man with wet and wandering eyes sits neatly. Excuse me? The man's eyes widen. Apologies. I wasn't sure you'd even hear me. Jean-Mi tilts his head. I didn't mean to be rude, please. And he bows a little. That's okay. He smiles warmly, almost bowing again. His hunched shoulders accentuating the movement. How? He pauses, taking care with his speech now. How are you feeling, sleeper? He beckons you a little closer. I'm Jean-Michel, though please, to you, Jean-Mi. I work with machines. He sweeps a hand above his counter where you see configurations of tiny parts. Mostly small ones. He smiles. I'm not great. Oh, of course. He chops with his hand to indicate a stool with a leg bar, meant for perching beside his counter, and such is the clarity and persuasiveness of his movement that you obligingly sit. Your presence is a rare honor here. He smiles and looks down into his lap. I'm sorry if I make you uncomfortable. I'm just very pleased to see you. Can I help you with something? I was more imagining I could help you. I can see your journey to me has not been easy, he says with genuine concern. You track his eyes across your body, noticing the scuff marks on your thick, vinyl-like skin, the replaced and the broken parts of your body, the marks of violence. You pull your jacket a little tighter. Jean-Mi folds his hands one over the other and places them on the counter. I do not know what your experiences have been, but I want to assure you that I see you as a person, a being, a soul, shall we say, as valid as any other. You look at Jean-Mi, his own age and wear also evident, a life of precise and careful work, shaping his body into a reflection of his process. You note his unconfident way of speaking, which betrays a certain loneliness, a lack of practice. It is his turn to feel observed. I understand. You're kind. The frankness of the remark takes you by surprise. He looks down at his counter and begins to take apart a tiny piece of machinery that sits there. Many years ago, when I began my apprenticeship, I would find that whenever I saw something that, how to say, was not working well. I was fixated on it and its repair. He tinkers with the parts, twisting them precisely. Of course, the belt is filled with this kind of dysfunctional detail. And so I was busy for many years with these small fixings. He smiles in reminiscence. But now I find that when I am interested in a thing that is not working as it should, he sharply twists one of the parts between his fingers. It is because it might have some quality not yet foreseen or discovered. He releases the altered object into the air, where it balletically twists in a hypnotic display, like a spinning top whose movements are totally unpredictable. Joey smiles at you watching his hypnotic toy. I can see that you are in a process of becoming sleeper. He catches the spinning toy between a finger and thumb. Let me aid you in this. Why? It is my habit, he smiles. And my small offer to you? Jean-Mi's precise hands drop to a device around his neck. He deftly pulls a pair of goggles up to his face, masking his wet eyes. Hold still, sleeper. Something flickers inside the goggles, their face blank. Jean-Mi's hands play across buttons and switches on the exterior, tuning, focusing. Let him work. When the goggles are finally lowered, they reveal a look of concern on Jean-Mi's face. I think you better come inside. He kicks off from his desk and disappears. A moment later, you hear a rattle and a small bulkhead door beside the booth that you had assumed was rusted shut creaks open. Jean-Mi beckons you inside. Jean-Mi's workshop is even more cramped than you expected. As you enter, you're surrounded on all sides with netting holding bundles and bundles of terminals, servers, drives, and cables. At its center, a padded seat and a set of articulated arms mounted with sensors and tools fill the space. The seat, please. Jean-Mi gestures at it with a polite smile. You tentatively settle on the seat, slipping your arms and feet into the straps meant to keep you from floating out of it in 0G. Jean-Mi floats beside you. He looks across your body. There's damage here, I see that. We will get to that. But I see something else here as well. This is why you came. He looks at you solemnly. Yes. Though I have never met a sleeper, I've studied them. I was lucky to acquire some materials from SNARP some time ago, in the interest of my own endeavors. He begins arranging a series of sensors around you on articulated arms. You're pleasingly distinct from those materials. His eyes flash with excitement. Am I right in thinking you have been modified? I rebooted myself. Yes, I see that your dependency on stabilizer on the immune recording portion of its makeup, at least, has been broken. He gives you a precise look. But that is not all. You are physically modified. Not externally, but internally. He carefully positions the final sensor. Your tracker is disabled, which makes it impossible for SNARP to find you. Congratulations. He smiles broadly. But this is not all. You've been modified, yes, but you're also being modified as we speak. You feel a strange claustrophobia at Jean-Mi's statement. Modified. Delphin rebooted your system, ran a recording protocol, but that shouldn't have physically changed you. It only removed your planned obsolescence. How? Jean-Mi goes to a terminal and flicks a switch. Through the back of the translucent screen, you see a nodal web in the vague shape of a sitting body. Your body. These changes appear to be complex, subtle but consistent. Jean-Mi goes silent as he taps at the terminal, the representation of your body rotating and unfolding in unsettling motions. How is this happening? How is a good question. He squints. How? I am unsure of. See here. He points at a flickering representation of your spine, tracing a line towards your head. Your nervous system is growing additional nodal points, here and here. Meanwhile, your emulation interface is growing an umbilical access port, though towards what end I am unsure. You instinctively reach back and touch the base of your head. As you do, the scan flickers and screeches with noise. You feel for something there growing under your thick vinyl skin. You can feel a lump, or is that just your imagination? You pick at it. Zombie sighs and shuts off the terminal. The changes are partial and, in all honesty, he gestures sharply at the sensors. The resolution is too poor. I need to run a full diagnostic. That I would need. He drifts over to another terminal and brings up screens and screens of text and diagrams. Yes, some kind of medium to hold your suspended emulation. The access check I can build myself, but we will need to bridge your emulation. Jean-Mi speaks quietly, almost to himself. A ship mind would be ideal for this. Would have to be high capacity. A prime ship mind. Solheim in origin. Perhaps Helion Gate might hold records of any that were in the system. Taps at the terminal. Jean-Mi turns back to you. Yes, the prime ship mind is essential if you wish further investigations to be done. I will need this above all. He thumbs the terminal off. I'm sorry to say, Sleeper. Can you tell me more? Accurately, no. He measures his fingers in front of his chest. It is clear that a process has begun, but has yet to complete. Jean-Mi busies himself with taking down the sensors and folding away the articulated arms. As he does, you try to calm yourself. You feel as if you have worms under your skin, and it takes all your focus not to pick at it, seems. Jean-Mi suddenly but gently places a hand on yours. Please, remain calm. He puts a carefully restored rare component in your hand. This can help you. Jean-Mi waits for you to fall still. Then he leans back a little, relieving some of the strange intimacy of the moment. For now, our work is concluded. He measures his fingers again and bows with a small head bob. But you're welcome, anytime. Thank you. Of course. His manner seems to have returned to something more businesslike. A humble man who knows his customers' needs. You get up from the seat a little dazed and push away into the passage. Safe travels, Sleeper, Jean-Mi says quietly, placing the promised list in your hand as he lets you back into the station. You leave dazed, unsure of how you feel about the insistence of this man's particular kindness, but most of all haunted by the idea of the unseen processes that are running within you. Part of you does not wish to know anything further, to leave this place and never look back, and another is desperate to immediately retrieve every object on its list so that you may know what strangeness is happening within you. For now, you must steady yourself and find a way to continue. Ooh, nice. Seraphim comes to find you in your bunk. After Jean-Mi's assessment, you find yourself drifting back to the rig, in need of the familiarity and comfort of your own ship. Sleeper, he drifts in. You find an artificer. artificer?
Artificer.
Artificer. He hovers by the door, looking concerned. Explain. You tell him about Jean-Mi, how he offered you repairs and ran an assessment of your frame. You describe the cramped booth, the articulated arms, and the strangeness of seeing your own body anatomized upon the terminal screen. Then you tell him that your body is changing, growing, in ways Jean-Mi cannot identify. That some process has been started and you do not know where it will end. You mention umbilical ports and nodal points, trying your best to remember the details of the things Jean-Mi asked you to retrieve. Seraphine grows pale and silent. He shakes his head when you stop talking. Lane, he growls. That piece of shit has to be behind this. Jean-Mi didn't say. He would know, but I know that piece of shit, and I know he would do something like this. We'll get what you need. We'll find the chip mined. He nods. A bit of work here and there, and we can make it to Helion Gate and wherever else. What about your stuff? We'll do that too. He thumbs the wall. We're free sleeper. No one can stop us. Just say the word, okay? He goes quiet. Don't give up on yourself just yet. He smiles. Get up and get back to it. And with that, he turns and kicks off down the corridor, disappearing from sight. You wait a little while, staring at the stained ceiling of the bunks, letting the thoughts settle in your mind. Then, when you're ready, you get up and leave, dazed, but with a stony determination growing in your chest. Flotsam maintenance. Flotsam needs constant work to keep it sealed and safe. The integrators are volunteers and can always use some help. Buy engine components. Integrators usually have some engine components to spare, but they know how valuable they are and price them highly. Integration means meshing systems as well as scrap. The integrators will pay for anyone skilled with meshing networks. Helion Gate. Hmm. Slipper, Zeppelin catches your attention as you go to leave the ship. Can I have a minute? Of course. Zeppelin ducks into a maintenance passage and waits for you to follow. In the narrow passage... Wieso? Ist schon wieder ein Glitch-Ding, wenn ich gar kein Ding hab? In the narrow passage, framed by loose wires and thick conduits, Seraphin looks suddenly small, trapped. He looks at an open circuitry panel as he speaks, avoiding your gaze. You see he is playing with a coin in his hand, nervously spinning it in the air. Since we cleared Hexport, I've been putting feelers out for something. He rubs his hands nervously. I've been in the belt a long time and I came here alone, but back on Darkside, just before we made a break for it, I heard something. I heard someone was looking for me. He pauses, trying to organize his thoughts. Who is after you? I also heard something else. They said the person looking for me claimed to be my sister. Waits for your reaction. You have a sister? I did, yeah. Well, I do. He shakes his head. But I don't even know if it's really her. Just because someone says they're my sister, well, I can't be sure. The thing is, I haven't seen my sister in a long time. I was still a kid when I left, so was she. Though, I don't think she would have liked to admit it at the time. He smiles to himself. I know you don't remember how it was in Darkside, I mean, he sighs. But we were alone, you and me. Lane didn't let us out much, just to work, and that was all. So when I overheard one of his guys mention someone was sniffing around, trying to find me, I didn't know what to think. He frowns, and then, hearing it could have been my sister, he goes quiet. He tried to recall that time the cycle spent under Lane's influence, working for him in exchange for stabilizer. You close your eyes, focus, but the details flicker, the images collapse and reform. Has Seraphin told you this before? Was this all part of your plan? You wanted to go find her? Yes, he shrugs. It changed things for me. The thought that she could be out there. Don't get me wrong, I wanted to get you out of there too. He pauses and you sense he is finding this difficult. I know it doesn't matter now, but I told you about her back then, before. Why tell me now? Since we got away, since Hexport, I've been asking around, speaking to spacers, traders, And like I said, something has finally come up. It seems whoever was trailing me left the dark side pretty soon after. Utspo caught wind of her sniffing around. I doubt they made her feel very welcome, but I managed to get a name. The name she gave, Lass, wasn't my sister's, but that doesn't mean much. It gave me something to follow. She bounced around the wash a little, fast pendulum flotsam, not sure why. He squinted a loose wire. The last thing she did was book passage to Wellspring on a Lotic freighter. That's it. How do you know this? Mostly ship manifests and port records. A few favors on the quiet. I want to go to Wellspring Sleeper to know if it's really her, and if it isn't, to settle what needs settling. We have other priorities. Right, he looks away. But I need to do this. He takes a breath. With or without you. We'll go, just not now. He nods and says nothing. Well, that's it. Seraphin squeezes past you in the corridor and glides back towards the engine room. You watch him go, wondering what other parts of your past together have been lost. Okay. Ja, wird ja langsam wieder.